is always a kitchen. In the kitchen, there are always women, and in the women, there is always fear. Fear that this time the recipe won't work, that the man will leave the meal unfinished, that the man's stomach will find pleasure in someone else's home, that she has served him too much or not enough, that he is already too full or hungry for something else. And it will be the woman's fault. Too much sugar or not enough, I guess. In my family, good cooking is a valued centerpiece, keeps the men close, brings them home every night. And there isn't a cookbook for this. The eyes must do all the learning, and a blink is no excuse for a burned batch of rice. Grandmother believed that a good meal says I love you better than words. Grandmother believed that a good meal says I'm sorry better than an apology. My mother's eyes learned from grandmother. Her rice is perfect. She is a better cook, the best, they say. Like grandmother, she serves in excess, says you can never, never love too much. One night, my father didn't come home for dinner. His plate left cold on the table, but he woke Mommy up at 4 a.m. after his night out drinking, dragged her by the hair into the kitchen, demanding she cook him his favorite meal. Chiles rellenos. I love you. A side of rice. I'm sorry. Another beer from the fridge. I'm sorry, I love you. Breakfast next morning was the last time she apologized for him. Though my mother's cooking is best, I wonder why the men in her life have never stayed for seconds. You know, they say the way to a man's heart is through his stomach, but there is no proverb about the way to a woman's heart. It seems that the way into her is more important. 2 daughters later, and years after the divorce, my mother still cooks like there's a man in the house, will often glance at the empty chair on our table and ask me more than once if I'm sure dinner tastes good tonight. My eyes have not yet mastered this art. They've learned only of words, but I've learned that grandmother was right. Apologies can taste a lot like love sometimes. And I may not know how to cook yet, but the man I love cooks for me sometimes. He knows the way to my heart isn't food or roses, but the kind of honest love that fills. And even though I don't know how to cook yet, Mommy still showed me how to love myself too much, always, even if he doesn't stay.